Wow, look at that beautiful graphic that we got right there for all of the viewers on YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter promoting the Wrestlers Lab Showabunga 2 at the Mecca. Wow, 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 wow. I will be there. I am the backstage correspondent for that show, and that is this Sunday at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. If you guys are in the tri-state area, come on by. Come on by. It's a Ninja Turtles themed show. So it should be a really great show. It's going to be a great time. I'm already working on my cosplay. I'm going to be working on my cosplay today. Got a little April O'Neil vibes coming through for that show. I'm very excited. So at the top of the hour, you know, we had to do a little plug. Pluggy plug. We love the plugs. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Queen of the Ring podcast. I'm Alex Lajas. So happy to see you guys here. We've got some things to discuss that I am looking forward to discussing. But before we do, if you are watching this on YouTube, please give this video a thumbs up. It helps me get into the algorithm, because you know the algorithm these days, I can never predict what's going on in the algorithm. I don't even know how to work the algorithm, but it helps the YouTube channel get into the groove of things. If you're watching this on Twitch, consider clicking that follow button. And if you're watching this on Twitter, hi. I hope you're already following me there. Hope you're already following me there. It's been a little bit of a slow week, I think, in the wrestling realm a little bit. We've been setting up the AEW Revolution card. I think it's shaping up to be a really good card. We're going to get into that. And then I want to get into some Bayley stuff, because that is the thumbnail for this episode. That is the title of this episode. Does Bayley deserve the spotlight, the WrestleMania spotlight? I want to get into that. But first, someone, Chaz, pointed it out. Love to see it. Good afternoon, Queen. Love the X-Men shirt. You know, we had to do it to them. The X-Men 97 crew are here. I got to talk about it because, listen, you guys tagged me so much over on Twitter, over on Instagram, and the Discord that you guys have been tagging me in. Dude, I am so pumped for X-Men 97. I am so excited for this series. I used to watch the X-Men 90s cartoon. It was on Fox Kids. I remember getting my big old bowl of cereal with Corn Pops. You guys remember Corn Pops back in the day when it had the aluminum bag inside of the box? I used to rock that. I used to eat that, watching my Saturday morning cartoons. Spider-Man used to come on as well. But I was all over the X-Men 90s classic series. So I'm very pumped for it. And also with the trailer that came out, Deadpool and Wolverine trailer that came out on the Super Bowl Sunday, right? It was Super Bowl Sunday, that trailer that came out. I'm looking forward to it. X-Men fans are going to be eating very good this year. I cannot wait. I'm almost considering doing a post X-Men show, maybe like a review show. I'm kind of thinking about that. I'm not sure. I don't know how the episodes are going to be released. I'm not sure if it's going to be all in one or every single week. I'm not sure, but I'm looking forward to this X-Men series. The series is picking up. It's picking up where the last episode left off in the 90s version, and I am pumped that they're gonna bring back the classic theme song. It is such a goated theme song. Also, guys, if you haven't, because you guys, some of you guys are Japanese like wrestling fans. You know, we love Stardom, we love TJPW, we love New Japan. The 90s version, or yes, the 90s X-Men show has a Japanese theme song, a Japanese version of the theme song. It's almost better. It is almost better than the classic 90s theme song. Almost better. Definitely check it out. It is on YouTube. And that's my little fun fact that I like to bring into any conversation. And then when I do, so many people are like, what? I didn't even know this existed. Yeah, you got to check that out. I'll probably tweet it out after the show because it is so damn good. I'm excited for Deadpool and Wolverine. Last night, I was on Twitch, twitch.tv/Queen of the Ring. Every Thursday, 6 p.m. Eastern Time, we've been watching Lucha Underground. And I had to take a second to acknowledge the trailer. It dropped yesterday, and I am just so pumped. I am so pumped. But Cadillac Carson setting an example over on the YouTube lands. Thank you so much for the super chat. Much appreciated. Just showing some support. Keep up the excellent work, Alex. Heart ya. Love it. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the support. Guys, if you want to send in a super chat, any questions, any comments, any concerns, considering hopping over on YouTube and sending over a super chat. It helps support the channel. It helps me. And I love it. And I appreciate it. It is not obligated, but it makes my heart very happy when you guys do. But I am pumped. I'm pumped for X-Men, dude. Listen, I am a nerd. I am full on a nerd. I'm a wrestling nerd. I'm a Star Wars nerd. I am definitely a Marvel nerd, but I am hardcore an X-Men nerd. I have this shirt on. It has pretty much the whole 90s lineup, the 92 lineup. You got Cyclops, you got Rogue, you got Beast, you got Jubilee, Jean Grey, Gambit, Storm in the middle, and you got Wolverine. I am pumped. I want to know, who is your favorite X-Men? Rogue is my favorite. Rogue is my favorite. I have a Rogue hoodie. I got maybe like 3 or 4 Rogue shirts. I guess including this one would be a 5th shirt. I got a ton of Rogue statues behind me. I was showing off some of my action figures yesterday on the Twitch stream. I'm very excited. I'm very excited where they're going to take off with this series. They got some of the original voice actors as well. I'm pumped. I'm super pumped. I was legit looking at the Secret Wars history yesterday. Dude, and they're going to bring... There's so much happening in the world of Marvel coming into it. I've been a little burnt out with Marvel. The last movie I watched was The Marvels, and I liked it. But I'm a little burnt out, but I feel like I've taken a break and now I'm in it to win it. I'm very excited to see where the Marvels turns out. SB3, gotta show some love. True Heel Heat Wrestling. Hello. I think it's so cool that the rumor is that it's going to be used as the backstory for the live action X-Men in Avengers 5. Hyped for the show so much. I'm hyped for the show. I did hear that the animated series is going to tie into the live action that they're doing. Curious to know if the team that we're seeing in the animated series is going to be the exact same theme as the same team as the live action one. I'm curious to see if it's going to be the same thing. I hope that it is, because I'm digging it. Also, listen, a lot of people are pissed that Morph is non-binary, and there are so many people that are mad that X-Men is involved with the Disney woke. Tell me you don't know shit about X-Men without telling me you don't know. Tell me you have never picked up an X-Men comic book without telling me. Because the fact that people are like, "What, X-Men is so woke now," blah, 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 blah. Bitch. Like, I don't even need to explain it, but it's just like X-Men has always been so diverse, has always been like even Stan Lee has acknowledged it. He's rolling in his grave with all of these think pieces and YouTube videos that are happening with like, Disney's so woke now, blah, 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 blah. X-Men so woke, blah, 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 blah. It's always been about like the movement of just, come on, I can't even get into it because it's just, what? Like, again, I don't even want to get into it. Like, I don't even want to feed into it or just like, I need to educate these people. How did you not know? No, I'm not educating shit. Fuck those people. Go pick up a comic book. Go pick up a comic book. What did you think of the end credit of the Marvels? Okay. Loved it. I screamed. I jumped out of my seat. I was like, they're here! The end credit of the Marvels is superb. Absolutely love it. Absolutely love it. But yeah, I'm excited about X-Men. I hope that you guys are too. I'm a huge X-Men nerd, and it's good to see that some of you guys are also X-Men nerds as well. We love the Marvel nerds. We love it so much. All right. Let's get to the topic at hand and why I think that Bayley is being disrespected. I think Bayley deserves so much more of a WrestleMania spotlight. I do. I'm kind of upset. I'm not going to lie. I'm upset with the way that they are presenting Bayley right now. I think her story is the most consistent. It is definitely one that is not being backed up in a corner. I think that Bayley's story going into WrestleMania, one, it's been a long-term storytelling. That's what you guys have been begging for, right? You guys have been begging for WWE to have long-term storytelling. That's happening, isn't it? It's happening with Bayley. And I just think at least that story is not all over the place compared to what's going on with Cody. Now, last week during SmackDown, we had Dakota finally showing up. She finally showed up. And she's telling Bayley, like, Bayley, I don't know what's going on. I've been trying to call you. Like, I don't know what's going on with EO. And Bayley's like, well, pick a side. Whose side are you on? Are you working with Bayley? Are you working with me? Are you working with EO? Damage Control? What's going on? I had high hopes for Damage Control. I brought us all together. And now I feel like nobody is by my side. I won the Royal Rumble. Nobody's really cheering for me. I said that I was going to go after Rhea, and now I feel like I'm being portrayed. And since I'm being portrayed, I am going to go fight EO. You guys have been fucking around way too much. I've been saving you guys too much with no backup for me whatsoever. So, what's going on? You're not answering your calls. Dakota, you're nowhere to be found. And I love it. I love where the story is going. There's so many different elements to play with. You know, you have Asuka and Kairi backing up EO. You got the Joshi squad. You know I love to see it. You got the Joshi squad backing up EO. You got Dakota in the middle of all this. And Bayley's just like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. I am the protagonist, but I don't know what to do. I won the Royal Rumble. I'm heading out to WrestleMania. I'm going to challenge EO. The way that they set up the two SmackDowns ago, and I've said this on the podcast before, especially last week, reviewing SmackDown. The way that they set that up with Bayley dropping the Japanese, She spoke Japanese. She's like, I know what you bitches have been talking about. You bitches been talking about me, and you bitches, and I say bitches in a very loving term. She's like, you motherfuckers are talking about me. You talking shit. You're trying to plot some kind of turn with me, and I don't know what's happening. All I've been doing has been supporting you guys. So yeah, Io, you know what? I'm challenging you at WrestleMania. I want that title. She gets the steel pipe. They have that one little stare off, that standoff with Io with the title and Bayley with the pipe. Then last week, Io, Asuka, and Kairi come out and they're surrounding the ring. Dakota's there with Bayley. Dakota jumps out of the ring, grabs a chair, and I got deja vu from when Seth Rollins got the chair and hit Roman with the chair to break up the Shield. I was getting deja vu from that. It was very Shield breaking up coded. It was very Shield coded, if you will. And Dakota gets the chair. It looks like she's getting ready to hit Bayley with the chair, but then Bayley dodges it, and then Dakota hits the rope where Io was. So it kind of seems like Dakota was more so going after Io. The look in Dakota's eyes made it seem like she was going after Bayley. I don't know what's happening. I don't know what's going on, but this is the story that I am so much more invested in because I've been invested in this story since Money in the Bank. Since Money in the Bank, I have been invested in this story. Because think about Money in the Bank with the teases that were going on with Bayley in that match and Io in that match. Bayley and Io were in that match, and it was like, well, what's going to happen? Because they can't help each other out, but when it comes down to if they are the last women to be on top of the ladder, what's happening? Bayley is handcuffed onto the ladder. Io gets the Money in the Bank. Io cashes in on Bianca at SummerSlam, wins the women's championship, and there was tension at War Games. Like, this story has been building up since Money in the Bank, maybe a little before Money in the Bank as well, but there has been a consistent story for almost a year with this. And I feel so bad because with The Rock being involved, I think The Rock is overshadowing the entire company, but it's The Rock. You know, it's The Rock. He's a Hollywood. He's turning into Hollywood Rock right now, you know? And to me, I just feel like, of course, with The Rock being involved, whatever is happening with him and Cody is going to be bigger. Like, I'm not stupid. You know, I'm not dumb. I've been ringing around the rosy for a long time. So I don't know. I just feel like the story is so much more better. Like the storyline with Bayley. Listen, whatever's happening with Cody and Seth and The Rock and Roman, it's a mess. It's a mess. Am I interested in it? Yeah, of course. Am I interested in it today, yesterday, tomorrow? Sure. The Rock is going to show up in SmackDown tonight with Roman. Let's see where that goes. Let's see how the promo goes. Obviously, he's going to be main eventing it. I think that it's going to have some high ratings tonight going into SmackDown. The hype that we saw last week before Super Bowl. I mean, let's face it. I think that one of the best things that that the WWE did, and I mentioned this last week on the podcast, was being involved with the Super Bowl. Because did you see how many celebrities were holding the golden WWE belt? Like, Khloe Kardashian was wearing that. You know, Post Malone was wearing it. Justin Bieber was wearing it. There is a lot of attention going into WrestleMania 40. One, it's a milestone. It's a huge milestone. You have 40 years of WrestleMania. And now you have The Rock involved, right? Wouldn't it be a good idea to take advantage of that and elevate some of your women's stories and some of the matches going on with the top talent that is carrying the women's division. And I think Bayley, I just feel bad. I feel bad because it's like, again, I think the story is just the better story going into it. I think with The Rock and Cody, it's just been, they've booked themselves so into a corner. I don't even know what's going on, because next week you have the Elimination Chamber, right? And with the Elimination Chamber, the winner of that goes on to WrestleMania to face Seth Rollins for the World Heavyweight Championship. Yet Seth Rollins is injured, and then Seth Rollins is still somewhat involved with Cody and The Rock and Roman and talking about the Shield, and there's a lot of history there. A lot of people want to see Roman versus Seth at WrestleMania, but then they're teasing that Seth and Cody are going to team up to go against The Rock and Roman, and then there's going to be a tag team, and then night one is going to be a tag team, but then you're going to have Seth still facing somebody who wins the Elimination Chamber to defend his title. I feel like it's a little overbooked. What are we doing? Should we be blaming CM Punk? Should we be blaming CM Punk? Is it all his fault because he's injured yet again? I don't know. I'd love to know your predictions going into the Elimination Chamber, because tonight we've got some Elimination Chamber qualifying matches. Unfortunately, Shotzi is injured. Hate to see it. Wishing her all the best. But replacing her is Alba Fire going against Tiffany Stratton. And then we have Naomi versus Zelina Vega. Those are the two qualifying matches going into the Women's Elimination Chamber match. So I'm predicting tonight Tiffany Stratton is going to win. I think they're trying to push Tiffany Stratton to the moon. I think that's justified. I would have loved to see Alba Fire get some shine in it, but I want to see Alba Fire and Isla Dawn go after the tag team championships. Like, what's going on there? I would love to see them have a match against the Kabuki Warriors at WrestleMania. I would love to see that. That would be a really cool, aesthetic wise, that would be really cool as well. But Tiffany is probably going to win tonight, and I think Naomi is also going to win because she got signed for a reason, and I don't think that they're going to be wasting her for a match. I don't think Zelina Vega is going to win. It's unfortunate, but I don't think she's going to win. I think Naomi is going to move on to the Elimination Chamber. I am hoping that Naomi goes the distance in the Elimination Chamber. I'm a little worried of where Naomi's stance is in the company right now. She was re-signed. She got a huge pop at the Royal Rumble. She was TNA Knockouts champion. She was doing a lot of great stuff in TNA, and then now she is in WWE. I want my girl to succeed. She is goated. She is 1000% goated. I agree with everyone in the chat saying that right now. But I hope Naomi goes the distance, at least at the Elimination Chamber. I hope so. But so far for the Elimination Chamber, we got Becky Lynch, Bianca Belair, and Liv Morgan have all succeeded, and they're moving on to go to the Elimination Chamber. I'm also curious to see how that's going to go, because the way that the kickoff show happened last week, I said this at the last episode as well. If you missed last week's episode, definitely check it out on the YouTubes, and while you're at it, subscribe to the channel, please and thank you. Hit that bell notification so you know when I release some new content on this beautiful channel. But last week I said it didn't make any sense to have Bianca Belair come out and promote. I get it. I get it that, you know, WWE right now, they're very like marketing. But you could do that while also selling a match. I wish that Rhea would have opened up the show. You had Becky come out, but then you also had Bianca come out. Right now, it just seems like they're doing this women's elimination chamber for nothing, because Becky Lynch is going to win. I am predicting that is probably going to be the better Elimination Chamber match because the women always show out. And that seems to be a pattern. That seems to be a theme with the PLEs with WWE. The women sometimes have the better matches. Royal Rumble, the women had a better match. I am predicting that Elimination Chamber, the women are also going to have a better match. My thing is that I wish it wasn't almost set up that, hey, Becky Lynch is going to win this. However, you guys should still watch this match anyway because there's other people involved. You know, I think Becky Lynch versus Rhea Ripley for the World Championship, it makes sense going into WrestleMania. Those are two huge names in the company right now. It does make sense. I don't know. That's my whole thing with it, but it's WWE sometimes, you know. That's the way that they book themselves into these kind of matches, into these kind of events anyway. So we're gonna have to see. Love to know what you guys think. Who will win for the Elimination Chamber, and then for the men tonight, we do have those qualifying matches: Logan Paul versus The Miz. Wondering who's going to win that one. Logan Paul is probably going to win that one. Having him in the Elimination Chamber. Hate to admit it. But he's too damn good at this shit. He's too damn good. And then we have Kevin Owens versus either Tom or Nick Mysterio. I'm not sure who's going to show up. They're billing someone named Dominic Mysterio. I don't know who that is. I don't really know who that is. That's sarcasm, ladies and gentlemen and non-binary friends, of course. That is sarcasm. But it is Kevin Owens versus Dominic Mysterio tonight for SmackDown. Very, very stacked show going into SmackDown tonight. With Logan Paul on the show. And then you have The Rock being involved in the show as well. But again, going into the show tonight for SmackDown, I want to see what's going on with Bayley. I want to see what's going on with Bayley. I want to see what's going on with Dakota. What is happening with Damage Control? Is Dakota going to pick sides? Where are we going with this story? Where are we going with this? Is Dakota going to turn on Bayley? At what point is she going to turn on Bayley? Because I think that's what's going to happen at WrestleMania, right? It's Bayley against the world almost. It's Bayley against Damage Control, against Dakota, Io, Asuka, Kairi. Nobody is in her corner. It's the unfortunate factor that Mercedes Moné, aka Sasha Banks, is signed to AEW, because that would have been a really good story too. At WrestleMania, Mercedes comes out and saves Bayley. Would it overshadow Bayley? Would it overshadow her win? Yes. I think it would. I think it definitely would. But I would love to see what Bayley does on her own to take down everybody, take down 4 individuals who she's brought back, who she has not paved the way for, but you know, she brought them back. She brought back Dakota. She brought back she brought Io from NXT. I want to see that again. It's just, I'm so much more invested in that story than whatever's going on with The Rock. Am I gonna watch SmackDown? And am I gonna be excited with what the Pebble is going to say, Mr. Dwayne? Am I gonna be excited with what he's gonna say? Yeah, of course I am. It's The Rock. I'm not dumb. But the one story that gets me excited is Bayley. That is the story I'm looking forward to. Again, you want the long-term booking? Right there, babes. Right there. It's always been there. You want this little baby face character? Listen, I think people need to erase the fact that Bayley's going to come out as Hugger Bayley. Homegirl has grown up. She is not going to be Hugger Bayley. But she's doing a really great job selling the little puppy dog eyes of like, I don't know what's going on. I didn't want to go against Io, but you left me no choice. It's the better story going. If we're talking about Royal Rumble winners, Bayley's got the better story. Because whatever happened with Cody and The Rock and Cody stepping aside, they pivot that real quick. They pivot that because of the way that you guys reacted online. Was it justified, the reaction? I don't think it's justified to send death threats, and I've been saying that for at least 2 weeks now. But when it comes to the Royal Rumble winners, that is the better story going into WrestleMania. Bayley versus Damage Control. Bayley, and I mentioned this on Grapsity when I was on there. Shout out to Phil and Reg. Good friends of the pod, good friends of the channel. Absolutely love them. But Darius Carter tweeted out that Bayley winning the Royal Rumble was for the workers. And what she's doing on SmackDown is proving that. Again, she is a worker and she is carrying the Royal Rumble essence of going into WrestleMania. It's almost going against their metrics that Bayley isn't going to main event WrestleMania. And you've already destroyed, to me, I think that they can make it up. You know, I think that they can make it up. I think they're trying to patch up what is going into Cody and Roman and Rock. I think they are patching it up, but for me, you're losing me. You're slowly losing me a little bit. I just am so much more invested in Bayley, and I want to know what you guys think. I want to know, do you guys agree? I see all of it in the chat right now. Bayley is underrated GOAT. Bayley carried the pandemic era of WWE. I absolutely agree. I 1000% agree with that. I've been saying that as well. 2 weeks of a podcast episodes, and I've been saying it, and I'm going to say it till I'm blue in the face. I just think that with the metrics that they have set throughout the history of WWE, the Royal Rumble winner goes on to main event WrestleMania, have one of the best stories going into WrestleMania, and you challenge for the championship. And hopefully, it doesn't happen with every Royal Rumble winner, but hopefully they are able to finish the story. And I think Bayley has a magnificent story to finish. She was the, I would say, undeclared leader of Damage Control. I think she was maybe declared, but she was the leader of Damage Control, right? She formed Damage Control. She brought them back. That was one of the most exciting things that happened that year at SummerSlam 2 years ago. She brought in Damage Control. It was a very exciting element going into the women's division into that year, into the end of that year. And I think that she has her own story to finish. She has been helping Damage Control. She has always helped EO. Think back to last year. During almost every single match, every single title defense that EO has had, who was right there next to her, helping her raise her hand after every match? It was Bayley. Bayley helped EO defend that title through and through. And now, what's going to happen going into WrestleMania? Who's going to save EO now at WrestleMania? Because Bayley's the one fighting her. Is it going to be Asuka? Is it going to be Kairi? I think those two would be out. I think the one person that could help EO is Dakota. Whatever happens there. Maybe going into WrestleMania, you know, we have like, oh, Dakota, I'm right there by your side, Bayley. I'm going to be there. I'm not going to let this. I think that we should all stop fighting. Maybe going into WrestleMania, Dakota turns on Bayley, but Bayley gets the come-ups. And Bayley's like, nope, I predicted that you were going to do this. I absolutely predicted that you were going to turn on me. You have not been by my side. I've been watching my own back. Takes out Dakota Kai, wins the women's championship at WrestleMania. I set that up. I tell you guys that story, right? What is happening with The Rock and Cody and Roman and Seth? It just feels like a mess. It feels like it's all over the place. I don't know. I don't know. It just does. After tonight, whatever happens with The Rock, I'll probably be excited. Of course, I'll eat my words. I'm a wrestling fan. Am I fickle? Of course. We're wrestling fans. Of course we're going to be fickle. But right now, I'm just so much more excited for that. The tag that's probably going to go into night one, I don't think it's, I don't want to see it. Is it a match? That's the thing. Like, The Rock needs a tag match to come back. Because I don't know if he's, not to say that he's not in shape, but there is a difference between being brolic and tough and cardio and then being in ring shape. Does he have that? Maybe. He's The Rock. Maybe he does, maybe he doesn't. But they dropped their own ball. They dropped their own ball, having Cody stepped aside, and now The Rock is involved, and it's just a mess. And then on Monday Night Raw, you have Cody and Seth cutting promos, and then you have Cody, or rather, you have Seth saying, "I'll shield you," making a reference to the Shield. The Rock isn't showing up. You got Seth and Cody kind of carrying whatever story is going on there on Monday Night Raw. You have Roman and Rock tonight. We'll see how that goes tonight. But I don't know. I just feel like Bayley deserves the WrestleMania spotlight. Bayley needs to main event night one. That's that. That's what should happen. Bayley should main event night one. I don't see anything else that would convince me otherwise. I think that she deserves it. She more than deserves it. She's the last 4 horsewomen to have a WrestleMania main event. She rightfully won the Royal Rumble. Again, go back and watch when Bayley pointed at the sign. The whole entire crowd pointed with her. Very predictable that Cody was going to win the Royal Rumble. I think a lot of people thought CM Punk was going to win. But from what I read, the plan for the Royal Rumble was always that Cody was going to win the Royal Rumble. And I mentioned this before, and some people didn't believe, or some people didn't know, but Cody cut a promo when the cameras were off at the Royal Rumble and was like, "We're going to finish the story." And I don't think they finished the story. I don't think they really finished the story. Because Cody stepped aside. Oh, man, it's just, I don't know. It's just weird. It's weird. It's weird what's going on with Cody and The Rock. I feel like they are going to try their absolute best to try to patch it up. Listen, low-key, it kind of seems like Triple H wants to get involved. If Triple H was able to wrestle, you know that man would have jumped at the opportunity to be WrestleMania 40, Triple H versus The Rock. Old timers. Do we want to see it? Do some of us want to see it? No. Do some of us, will we get a kick out of seeing it? Yeah, because it's our childhood. I love how he's kind of playing it up too. Where he was like, if you like it, if you don't, it doesn't matter. Last week on SmackDown. Triple H is goated, I guess. But just gonna have to see what goes on SmackDown. We got 2 qualifier matches happening on SmackDown, or rather, we have 4 qualifying matches happening on SmackDown. Like I mentioned before, we got Becky Lynch, Bianca Belair, and Liv Morgan already in the Elimination Chamber. Then tonight on SmackDown, we have Alba Fire versus Tiffany Stratton and Naomi versus Zelina Vega. Already set my predictions for that. And then for the men, we have Drew McIntyre, Randy Orton, LA Knight, Bobby Lashley going in, already qualified for the Elimination Chamber. And then we have Logan Paul versus The Miz tonight, Kevin Owens versus Dominic Mysterio. I think Drew McIntyre is going to win the Elimination Chamber and go on to face Seth Rollins. I hope that Seth Rollins is 100%. I think it's a risk to have any of these individuals wrestle back-to-back at WrestleMania, to have Seth is already injured, so it's already a slight risk to have him wrestle 2 nights or rather 2 times in one night, it's definitely a risk. Definitely a risk. Will, thank you so much for the super chat. Much appreciated for the support. Love your friend. I think Bayley will win the title at Mania, and Dakota will turn on her the SmackDown after Mania because that's her story. Interesting. Interesting. I'd like to see that too. I think that that could carry on a little bit with the Damage Control storyline if Dakota turns on Bayley the SmackDown after Mania. You'd be waiting a week for it, but it could possibly play out. I could see that carrying on the Damage Control storyline after WrestleMania, because after WrestleMania, I know that we'll have Backlash in May, and then we have Money in the Bank in Toronto. So, that could be a good element to carry on the Damage Control storyline for that. That could be really good. So we'll have to see. I like that prediction, though. I like that prediction. But again, we have a stacked SmackDown tonight. Yeah, I don't know. I don't see anybody else in that lineup that would make sense to go against Seth at WrestleMania. I think it's going to be Drew McIntyre. Have to see what happens tonight, because again, The Rock is scheduled to be there. But I don't know. Again, I think it's a mess. But we have seen dumber stories going into WrestleMania, and then when WrestleMania happens, the match is great, right? Because think back to when Bianca won the Royal Rumble back in 2021, and she was going against Sasha at WrestleMania 37. That storyline was shit. But you don't remember the story, do you? You remember the moment. And that's what WWE is all about sometimes. They're about the moments. You remember the moment that you had Sasha and Bianca, one great match. But do you remember the coexisting? Can they coexist story? I don't really remember it. Nor does it matter. Because the WrestleMania match was good. So I would hope that with whatever's going on with Cody and Roman, at least for that, I don't care what happens with the tag. Again, I don't care about the tag match. My interest is Bayley versus Io. Going into WrestleMania, my interest is Bayley versus Io. And then it's Cody versus Roman. Because they have set it up for us that we need to care about Cody Rhodes versus Roman Reigns. Right? But with the basura that they've been booking so far, I don't really care. I care more about Bayley. Step aside, boys. Let the women cook. Because they always do. So I think that going in, it's going to be that. I think it's going to be that. For me, at least. Going into it, I'm very excited to see what's going on with Bayley. But again, with the story that's being set up, we're probably not going to remember it after Roman versus Cody, whatever happens there. But, man, if Cody doesn't finish that story, he does not win that title at WrestleMania, it is all for nothing, and I'm going to laugh in everybody's faces. Bayley is my GOAT forever. Y'all continue crying over that. I'm going to watch Bayley versus Io. See you later. That's where I'm at. Let the boys cry. It is messy over there. Listen, think about the messiest person you've ever known in your life, and why is it a man? They are messy over there. I don't know what the hell's going on. But again, I feel like Bayley deserves the shine. I think she deserves the spotlight. I think Bayley versus Io, night one, WrestleMania main event makes so much more sense than whatever fucking crap that they're trying to put on with that tag match. I just think so. And again, I agree with everybody in the chat. This is Cody's last chance to win. And so far, it ain't really proven that he should be winning with whatever chicken shit they're trying to book right now. Sorry if that upsets you. Will, thank you so much for another super chat. Thank you so much. Would you do Jade versus Bianca at Mania, or you put them in a tag team versus Kairi and Asuka? So, Bianca right now is undefeated in a singles match at WrestleMania. I wouldn't put her against Jade and Bianca. I wouldn't put Bianca against Jade at WrestleMania. I think that match definitely deserves a title. And I think for Jade's first WrestleMania, I would hope that Jade is fighting at this WrestleMania. It's WrestleMania 40. I think it's well deserved. I would hope that Jade Cargill is involved in this year's WrestleMania. I do agree with somebody in the chat saying Jade versus Rhea Ripley would be awesome. I don't think that's the case. It was rumored that Jade Cargill was supposed to be in the Elimination Chamber. I don't see Jade Cargill taking a pin as of yet. Being eliminated at the Royal Rumble was justified. I think that was good. I think it was a safe thing for, to happen for Jade. There's a difference between being eliminated, going over the top rope, and then getting pinned in the logic of wrestling. But for Jade Cargill appearing at WrestleMania, I would prefer the last part. I would prefer Jade Cargill teaming up with Bianca Belair to go against Kairi and Asuka. I would love that. I think Bianca and Jade in a tag team would be superb. And I think you could build a pretty good relationship between the two and then turn it into like friends versus enemies. There's a lot you could do with Jade Cargill, though. That's the thing. There's a lot you can do with it, and that's the exciting part about Jade Cargill being a part of this women's division. She's a part of a really good system now, a good machine where, like, I think Jade in the Royal Rumble was night and day compared to what she was doing in AEW. And we're going to get to AEW in just a second. But Jade Cargill looked so different in the ring at the elimination or at the Royal Rumble compared to her at AEW. I think her last match in AEW against Chris Statlander was her best match in AEW, but the way she was moving at the Royal Rumble was so much more different than how she was moving in AEW. I think this system, the PC, is built for an individual like Jade Cargill. And so I think to have a match, having her first match, like her first official match being at WrestleMania would be cool. I think having her team up with Bianca Belair, they had that stare down. So there's a lot of interest there to see her working with Bianca Belair. But I think she should work with Bianca Belair. Kairi and Asuka, I think those are two great competitors to show out with Jade Cargill. Also, shout out to Jade Cargill being in a Super Bowl commercial with Aubrey Plaza. Was she doing a frog splash, I think, in that commercial? I believe it was for Mountain Dew Baja Blast. She was on the top rope. So, homegirl is working. And I think to go against Kairi and Asuka, I think those are two really good, safe competitors for Jade to have her first WrestleMania match. So I think that is the match for WrestleMania. But again, we're going to have to see we're going to start to build up. We've only got we've got a month and a half till WrestleMania. After Elimination Chamber, we're going to see how it goes because we've got, again, the two Elimination Chambers to see who is going to face Rhea and Seth going into WrestleMania. We've got that tag match with Tyler Bate and Pete Dunne. I like to call him Peter Dunne. And Damian Priest and Finn Balor. I would hope that there's a title change with that, because I would like to see something different with the tag division. I'd love to see just something very different with that. And we've got a lot to build up for WrestleMania. So We're gonna have to see. We're gonna have to see. And again, Will with another super chat, big old super chat. Thank you so much, Will. Thank you so much. I asked that because it feels like WWE wants Bianca WrestleMania streak to be the new WrestleMania streak. But we can't have Jade take a pin in her first singles match. So I think there will be a team. Yes, I that's what I was alluding to, where it's like, oh, we got 50 days away from WrestleMania. Wow, wow, wow. Wow, wow, wow. Thanks, Chris, for letting me know that. But yeah, I think with Bianca, I think they're trying to build that up as like the new WrestleMania streak. And then with Jade, she's not going to take a pin. I don't think she's going to take a pin within the first maybe 6 months to a year in WWE. Compared to what she was doing in AEW, being undefeated. Yeah, no. I don't think they're going to serve her a pin anytime soon. Anytime soon. But again, we're going to have to see. I am looking forward to seeing what they have planned for Bianca and Jade Cargill for WrestleMania. So, gonna have to see. But let's move on to AEW Revolution. We are really shaping up this card. I think so far this card looks really, really good. I'm very excited for AEW Revolution. So let's go over the card that they have so far. We have Will Ospreay versus Konosuke Takeshita. Dude, Will Ospreay's first pay-per-view match, I believe, his first pay-per-view match officially signed to AEW, and this is the match that you have? Yeah, no, this is the perfect setup for Will Ospreay. This is the perfect setup. He's used to wrestling that the Japanese style, the Japanese strong style. Ospreay versus Takeshita is most likely going to be the match of the night. That is most likely going to be the match of the night. I really do predict that. It's a singles match. It's not for a title, so it's gonna be good. I think it's gonna be great. That's definitely a match going into it that I am really looking forward to seeing how that shapes up. That is going to be a freaking banger. I am so looking forward to that match. When I saw that graphic, I was like, give me that. Give me the wrestles. I want the wrestles. I'm excited for it. I'm so excited for it. You will not hear the end of it. I apologize for the person that I become during and after that match with Will Ospreay versus Konosuke Takeshita. I apologize. I will be unrecognizable because I am looking forward to that match so much. And of course, I want to know what you guys are thinking. What are you excited for with the card that they've been shaping up so far? We got Eddie Kingston versus Bryan Danielson. It's a singles match for the Continental Crown Championship, which is the AEW Continental Championship. Eddie Kingston is also the Ring of Honor World Champion, and then he's the New Japan Strong Openweight Champion. Eddie Kingston's got all the belts. But if Daniel Bryanson loses, then he has to shake Eddie Kingston's hand. What do we think going into this match? Eddie Kingston's got to win. I mean, that's my prediction on that. I don't have a prediction for Will Ospreay versus Konosuke Takeshita. My prediction is that it's going to be the match of the night. That is my prediction for that match. My prediction for Eddie Kingston versus Bryan Danielson, I think Eddie Kingston is going to win that match. I think at this point, Bryan Danielson is like, I just want to fight. I don't care who I go against. I don't care what's going on, but I just want to fight. So that'll be a good match to get into. This past Wednesday, holy shit, the segment that happened between Samoa Joe, Hangman Adam Page, and Swerve Strickland, setting it up for Revolution, and it is going to be a 3-way match for the AEW World Championship. Holy shit. This segment that happened on Dynamite has got me pumped for this match. I am so looking forward to this match. Samoa Joe as a champion anywhere, as a world champion anywhere, is best for business. And I love that Samoa Joe can just come out, hold that title, be in his cute little suit, looking like money. Love Samoa Joe. Love when he's wearing a suit. So hot, so handsome. But he comes out, and Swerve also comes out, and again, the crowd being so behind Swerve. Like, I don't know what's gonna happen going into this one, because it's like, does Swerve finally win the world championship? Does he finally win it? Because Adam Page said it himself. He's like, I'm in this match because I just don't want you to be champion. I just don't think you deserve it. I going into this match rooting for Swerve Strickland. I can't lie. But I love Samoa Joe as champion, so I am conflicted. And I love that Samoa Joe is like, y'all can talk the shit that you want. You guys can bicker with each other. You can do whatever the hell you want, but I'm gonna fuck you up at Revolution. I'm gonna fuck you guys up. Shout out to this podcast. We're allowed to curse. But I love that Samoa Joe's like, I don't give a damn what you guys have to say. I'm just gonna slaughter you. Bye. Mic drop. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to this match. And I was predicting that maybe this match would main event Revolution, but since it is going to be Sting's retirement match, Sting is finally retiring from the wrestling business, and he is champion. He is AEW World Tag Team Champion with Darby Allin. It's his first championship that he's won since 20 years, has it been? Has it been 20 years, I believe? It's been a while since Sting has won a championship. So Sting is going into this match as tag champion with Darby Allin, and then they're going against the EVPs, the Young Bucks. Loving what the Young Bucks are doing. Darby Allin dropped that line that they didn't have his back. They didn't have his back going into this new era with AEW. They didn't believe in Darby Allin. They chose Brandon Cutler over Darby Allin. I like what they're building up. I like the element that the Bucks are bringing into the EVP gimmick that they have right now. They're not flippy anymore. They're not as flippy anymore. They're very serious. They're very stoic. Matthew Jackson and Nicholas Jackson. I love that. I am predicting that they are going to win this. It is Sting's retirement match. As we know in wrestling, when you retire on your back, you got to lose. So again, I think it's a tornado tag team match, so it's going to be off the wall bananas. I do predict that Sting is going to jump off one of the sets, the AEW sign, and he's going to do like something wild. Sting has to do something absolutely crazy for his last match. His last match in this wrestling business, he has to do something wild. But I am predicting that because it's Sting and he's retiring, that's going to be the one. That's going to be the main event for Revolution. And I'm not mad about it. I'm not mad. It's Sting. It's Sting's last match. Why not? Let the homie main event, Let him main event. We got Orange Cassidy versus Roderick Strong going into this pay-per-view for the AEW International Championship. Big shout out to Matt Taven from Dynamite this week. He looked amazing. He probably looked the best he's ever looked since he's been in that company, since he's been in AEW. I want to see more of Matt Taven. So big shout out to him. That was a crazy ass match that happened on Dynamite. And I am looking forward to more Matt Taven matches, whether it's going to be for a pay-per-view, whether it's Collision, whether it's Dynamite, I don't care. I'm looking so much more forward to Matt Taven. I loved him in Ring of Honor. I'm glad that he's getting more shine in AEW as well. So we're going to have to see where this goes with Orange Cassidy versus Roderick Strong. I would like to see Roderick Strong as champion. That might be a little unpopular opinion. But But I think maybe giving Orange Cassidy a break. I think he's been carrying that championship for almost 2 years now at this point. I'd love to see somewhat of a shakeup. So I'd like to see Roderick Strong winning the international championship for Revolution. So let's see where that goes. And I left this for last because I have some opinions. And I've mentioned some of these opinions before. So we have a women's match. We have Timeless Toni Storm. She is the AEW Women's World Champion going against Deonna Purrazzo. Dina Palooza. However you call her. She's going against Deonna Purrazzo. It's a good story that they're telling via tattoos. Listen, I'm a tatted up girl. You see? I got all the tattoos. I was going to say all the tattoos in the world. I don't. But I have a lot of tattoos. So when you're incorporating a tattoo storyline in wrestling, I like it. I enjoy it. I love the wet ink segment that Tony set up for Dynamite this week with, telling the story that, Toni Storm and Deonna Purrazzo had a lot of history in Japan. Tony helped Deonna get opportunities in Japan. I like it. I like the little photo album that they had set up for that segment, for that little vignette. But here's my thing. One, Tony Khan, are we getting another women's match? That's what I want to know. Are we getting another women's match? I'm very curious, and I would like to see it. Are we getting another one? I would love to know. What does Julia Hart have planned? I want to know. But besides that, where do we go with Deonna Purrazzo if Toni Storm wins? And with the arrival of Mercedes Moné in just 2 weeks, 3 weeks? Where does Deonna Purrazzo go from here? Because you could still play it out. Whatever happens, how Toni Storm is going to win. I don't see... Toni Storm is the hottest act going on in AEW right now. I've said it for 2 weeks on the podcast. Toni Storm is the hottest act going into in AEW right now. So, don't see how Toni Storm is going to lose this championship. But where does Deonna Purrazzo go if Mercedes Moné does show up? What is going to happen with her? Because if Mercedes Moné wasn't going to appear in AEW, I can see Deonna Purrazzo and Toni Storm still carrying it, still going on, facing off with each other at Double or Nothing. I can see maybe, Mariah May turning on Toni Storm at Revolution, and then maybe it turns into a triple threat, a three-way match going into Double or Nothing with Deonna Purrazzo, Mariah May, Toni Storm. However, my thing is that I think that they started off, and I said this before, I think with Deonna Purrazzo, they started off as, they started her off as a 10. They already started her off so high up. So where does she go from here once she loses this championship match? Where does she go? Do you still add in Deonna Purrazzo with Toni Storm and Mercedes Moné? Because let's face it, when Mercedes shows up at AEW, do you see her showing up and facing Julia Hart for the TBS title? Do you see Mercedes Moné possibly having a non-title feud right off the bat? Or do you directly push her towards the direction of Timeless Toni Storm? Because that is money. That is Moné. That is gonna be a money-making match. Toni Storm versus Mercedes Moné. That is possibly the match where Toni Storm loses the championship, because let's face it, they're going to throw that title onto Mercedes Moné. Rightfully so. She's a huge draw. She's a huge name. But where does Deonna Purrazzo go from here? Or do you continue Toni Storm and Deonna Purrazzo going into Double or Nothing, and then you have Mercedes Moné versus Britt Baker? Mercedes Moné comes out at the TD Garden show for Dynamite, and then you have Britt Baker interrupting the segment. Whatever happens with Mercedes, I would predict that Mercedes opens up the show for the TD Garden show that's happening in Dynamite. I would predict that Mercedes opens up the show. But if she opens up the show, do you throw Britt Baker in, and then that's the story going into Double or Nothing? However, you've got 3 months to do something with Mercedes. So I don't know. That's my one prediction. I am predicting that Toni Storm is going to win that championship match at Revolution against Deonna Purrazzo. I would like for Toni Storm and Deonna Purrazzo to carry on forward after Revolution. But it would be pretty fucking sick to see Deonna Purrazzo win that championship too. That'd be pretty freaking sick. So yeah, I don't know. I do, and I was saying this to a friend of mine, respectfully, where I do see the little changes that AEW is making towards their women's division. I acknowledge it, and I absolutely do see it. However, I think that they're a little slow. I think they are very slow with the progress that they are making with the women's division, especially when you consider the fact that TNA kind of made the blueprint of where and how we should treat women's wrestling with their first all knockouts pay-per-view. But I do see that they are making the changes. I will give credit to where credit's due. It's a little too slow for me, though. It's a little too slow, especially with the talent that you have. It's just a tiny, tiny bit disconnected for me. But I see where it's going. I think with Mercedes Moné signing into WWE or signing with AEW, I think, it's funny the way that people are like, well, I hope that she has in her contract that she's going to get some creative control because she wasn't satisfied with WWE. Babes, Mercedes Moné is smart. She is not going to sign to AEW with the chicken shit booking that they be having with the women's division over there. I think she had some conversations with Tony and she's like, you're going to fix this up real quick before I show up. And I see it. I definitely do see it. But I don't know. Again, it's moving too slow for me. It's moving a little too slow. I'm going to need more women's matches on, more segments. I want more segments. Have some women show up and just have a conversation in the ring together. I would like to see that happen when Mercedes arrives. And again, I think that she's going to open up the show. But again, I don't know. Will she open up the show or would you save her for a main event? How would you do it? But I think they've got a lot of progress to go. I hate to say it, but AEW is just light years behind a lot of women's divisions. And I'm not just comparing that with WWE. Compared to TNA, compared to some of the indies that's going on right now, they are light years behind when it comes to the booking, when it comes to some of the stories. I do see that they are doing a fantastic job with Athena, but it's unfortunate that they're hiding her behind a paywall. I think that with Athena, it is crazy to me that the Ring of Honor World Champion, Eddie Kingston, is having matches left and right in almost every pay-per-views, and Athena is not. Or she's only settling on the kickoff show. I think it's crazy that you have these Ring of Honor pure championship matches happening in pay-per-views or in Dynamite or in Rampage or Collision. Even the television Ring of Honor, the triple trios titles, Ring of Honor going into Collision, going into Rampage, going into Dynamite. And yet there's not enough attention with Athena going into these main shows. It's weird. And again, I agree with the comment section saying the Minion storyline is pretty good. But The only reason why I'm not subscribed to Honor Club. I'll say that. I watch some of the matches, but I watch it in a different way. I'll say that. But I'm not subscribed to Honor Club. The only thing that would make me subscribe to Honor Club is Athena. But I'm not going to spend I'm already spending so much money on so many different streaming sites. I want to see Athena more. I think if you have Athena, who has been main eventing consistent Ring of Honor pay-per-views, if Athena is consistently main eventing Ring of Honor pay-per-views, wouldn't you want to shine that light a little bit more on Dynamite and have Athena have world championship matches, title defenses? Hey, even if it's predictable, if it's like a squash match and she's definitely going to win it, wouldn't you have her on your main shows to sell Honor Club and be like, hey, if you really enjoy Athena, if you really enjoy what's happening here, go ahead and subscribe to Honor Club, because what she's doing here, she's doing so much more over there. Doesn't that make sense? That's where I see it's just a little too behind. A little too behind. Just a little tiny bit. But again, I see that they're making progress. Again, I do see that they are, with Queen Amanita, having her sign her, by the way. What the hell are we doing? Does she have her AEW graphic yet? You gotta sign her, because she's pulling out some matches. When she went against Mariah May, when she was fighting Toni Storm, she had some bangers. We gotta sign her. I would love to see her go against like Julia Hart for the TBS title. If she's signed, she's signed. I didn't see the graphic. That's why I'm like, is she signed? But if she is signed, baby, let's push her, because she's doing an amazing job. But again, I would hope that with the inclusion of Mercedes, she's already signed. Okay, where's the graphic? Give her the graphic. Giving her the RJ City treatment. Get her the graphic. But again, I think that with the inclusion of Mercedes being in AEW, I would hope that that's a bigger push for more shine on the women's division. Again, I see it, but I'm getting a little impatient when you have been a company for 5 years, and for almost 11 plus years, there has been a format of women's wrestling that has been curated. And I'm not just talking WWE. Whenever I talk about women's divisions, I'm not just talking about that other company. There are tons and tons and almost thousands of other companies that have shined a better light on a women's division. And that is the examples that I'm talking about. When you have had almost 11 plus years of a curated format of what your division should be, and you have been a company for 5 years, and now you're getting the ball rolling, and maybe it's only because you just signed someone that left a different company for the exact same reasons as to why you're getting criticism for your own women's division. It's a little slow for me. It's a little slow. The talent's there. The talent is there beyond. Almost half of that women's roster in AEW have competed in Japan. So the talent is there. It's just a little tiny slow for me. Just a little tiny slow. Either way, I am going to tune into Revolution. I've been tuning into Dynamite, Rampage, Collision. Been liking what I'm seeing so far. But it's just a little tiny criticism. Just a little tiny beat. Little baby one. Little baby one. Will, again, killing it with the super chats, my friend. Thank you so much. Holy shit. That is a mighty super chat. I think that's the biggest super chat I've ever gotten on this channel. So thank you. $20. Oh my God, that's crazy. Anyway. I think it's great they got Mercedes, but they can't put it all on her back. Toni got to do the work, so the women's division is looked on at with the men. It shouldn't take him getting Mercedes. It's 4 years now, Tony. I do agree. That's where I'm saying, like, I'm glad that you've also said that, Will, because I do agree. I just think it's running a little slow. And I think to say that it is a young owner of a wrestling company, sure, I have thoughts and I have opinions that I'm not going to say out loud on this podcast because I don't want to completely piss off AEW fans. I've gotten death threats from AEW fans, so I'm sure they would not be too happy about what I'm saying already on this podcast. So sometimes I am a little scared because I'm a woman and I don't want death threats, you know. But I do acknowledge it's a young company. But again, like, come the fuck on. You can't. I think the excuse of, well, it's a young company, okay, and wrestling has been around for 40 plus fucking years. Hello? The fuck you mean? That's aggressive. I'm sorry. But what do you mean that's a young company? Wrestling's been around for 40 plus years. Like, hello? Hello? But again, I think they're trying to nail it with the women's division. They've definitely been nailing it with everything else across the board. I want to see more of Athena for sure. It'll be interesting to see what we get with Mercedes. We've got Serena Deeb back. We've got some good competitors. Like, we've got some really good talent in the women's division where we don't need a title. Tell a good story, babes. Tell a good stories. And again, I agree with that. I agree with what's going on Twitch. After 5 years, the wrestling company is no longer young. 5 more years, you're going to be pushing 10 years. So, you know, I don't know. That's just where I'm at. But again, I am excited to go into Revolution. I would love to see another women's match for this card. The one thing, and I know that I'm not the only one. Listen, babes, I'm 32 years old. That's one. I cannot be watching some of these pay-per-views on a Sunday night at that. A Sunday night. Listen, I know a lot of you guys have your 9 to 5s. You be working on some Mondays, all right? I don't want to finish a pay-per-view on a Sunday night at freaking 1 a.m. and then you have a press conference. You have a media scrum that goes on till 3 a.m. Babes, come on now. I'm 32 years old. I need to sleep. And that's the one thing that I don't like about the way that they sometimes book pay-per-views, because they only have like about 4 pay-per-views a year, like 4 major pay-per-views a year. They just throw everything into a pay-per-view. So far for this card, we have 6 matches. I'm good. Maybe add 2 more, maybe, but they'll start off with like 6 matches, right? We've got about 2-3 weeks. It'll be March 3rd. It is February 16th. So we got a few more days. Right now we're at 6 matches. Sometimes those 6 matches will turn into 20 matches. Why? We'll probably get like Adam Copeland on the show with Christian. I would love to see Athena on the show, but I don't know if we will see her. The kickoff show, they be throwing like 4 matches onto that. Babes, I need to sleep. And listen, I pay what? It's not cheap to order these pay-per-views, okay? I need to sleep. Some of us are over the age of 30, Tony. And I know you are too. Come on. Oh my God. Yeah, 12 more matches, but then there'll only be 1 women's match. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. But I am excited for Evolution. That is coming up. You know, we've got Elimination Chamber coming up. We'll see how that goes, of course. But SmackDown should be interesting tonight. And also Collision tomorrow is going to be a banger. But you know what, guys? Let's talk all about that. Let's catch up next week. next Friday, 12 p.m. Eastern Time. That is every single Friday. The Queen of the Ring podcast is on. If you are listening to this in your beautiful little ear biscuits over at Apple, over on Spotify, please consider leaving a 5-star review. That helps me grow again into the algorithms. We got to fight the algorithms, guys. We got to fight the algorithms. If you're watching this on YouTube, please give this video a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel. If you're watching this on Twitch, follow me on Twitch. We have been doing some Lucha Underground watch-alongs every Thursday, 6 p.m. Eastern Time. Come check us out on Twitch. Also, if you're on Twitch, why don't you mosey on over to YouTube and you could subscribe there. I've got a few videos coming up. I got more interviews coming out. I've got an interview with Brutus Creed and Ivy Nile that is up on my YouTube channel right now. Please go check those out as well. We've got some fun interviews. We talk about video games. We talk about cosplays. It's a lot of fun. Very excited for that. I'm very happy that I finally got those up from the Royal Rumble weekend. There's more coming up as well. Plug. Speaking about plugs, this weekend, guys, if you are in the tri-state area, but also if you want to check out some good ass wrestling, consider Wrestlers Lab Showabunga 2 at the Mega. I will be there. I will be cosplaying as April O'Neil because this is a Ninja Turtles themed show. It's going to be great. I'm very excited for it. It will be up on YouTube's as well. The tickets you can find online at Eventbrite. I have the link over in the bio of this YouTube video. You could check it out. Tickets are still on sale right now. You could also buy them at the door. But when the beautiful little show is available, you could go check that out. We've got some really good wrestlers on the card. We got Akira on there. We got Billy Dixon, Robert Martyr, Angelo Carter. Who else we got? We got Trey Shaw. We got Mr. Grimm, Erica Lee, Gabby Forza. We've got a bring your own weapons. Fans got to bring their own weapons to the show. So definitely go check it out, guys. There's so much more happening over there. I will keep you guys posted on that. I'm going to, put on the little links and everything. If you're listening to this on Apple, on Spotify, I do have the link as well in the bio. So go check that out. Plug. Little pluggy plug. We love the plugs. All right, guys. I will see you next week. Very, very soon. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. I'm Alex Lajas, your Queen of the Ring. You may bow your heads, I think. I don't know. What do you guys do with queens? I don't know. Respect me? I like your respect. And you can respect me by subscribing to the channel and all that good stuff. And if you want my socials, it is in the bio as well. Follow me there. Love you faces, and I'll see you soon. Goodbye.